Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the previous class, we discussed about purchasing power parity. Then we discussed an example of purchasing power parity. If people remind, take it back. Then after that, we discussed about the criticism of purchasing power parity theory, limitations of the price index, then unrealistic approach, then unrealistic assumptions, impact of international capital flow, and then we discussed about the last criticism, that was rare occurrence. Today we are going to discuss two versions of purchasing power parity. One is absolute purchasing power parity and the other one is relative purchasing power parity. What is absolute purchasing power? It is based on the law of one price. What does the law of one price mean? If two or more countries produce an identical product, the price of the product should be the same, no matter which country produces it. According to the law of one price, if two or more countries are producing one product, one identical product, the price of the product should be the same, no matter which country produces it. So if two countries are producing one product, so the price will be the same in both countries. According to this version of PPP, purchasing power parity, that is absolute purchasing power parity, the exchange rate between two countries is the ratio of the prices. This is the main theme, that exchange rate between two countries is simply the ratio of prices in these two countries. Take an example. Suppose this is one country and this is the other country. Now this country is producing a cement bag. Suppose this is Afghanistan, and in Afghanistan they are producing a cement bag for 300 Afghanis. Not producing, selling. This is the sale price. Sale price of selling cement bag in Afghanistan is 300 Afghanis. And the same cement bag in UK, its price is 10 pounds. See, product is same. So the exchange rate between these two countries, exchange rate between these two countries will be the ratio of prices. Means price in Afghanistan divided by price in UK. Just a minute. Okay, so price in Afghanistan, it is 300, and price in UK it is £10. So when we will cancel these, so we got 30 is the exchange rate, means 30 Afghanis per pound. So this is absolute purchasing power, simply that the exchange rate between two countries is the ratio of the prices. Here is another example. Price of McDonald's burger in Calgary, Canada, it is Canadian dollar 3.99. And price of the same burger in USA, it is equal to $2. So exchange rate, current, E0 means current exchange rate is equal to price in Canada divided by price in USA. So price in Canada is 3.99 divided by price in USA is $2. So we got 1.9950. It is Canadian dollar, CAD, per dollar. So this will be the exchange rate between these two countries. This is absolute purchasing power parity. Now come to the second version of PPP, that is the relative purchasing power parity. Basically, relative purchasing power parity relates to macroeconomic variables. It is the relationship of two macroeconomic variables. The first macroeconomic variable is inflation, and the second macroeconomic variable is currency value. Now, according to this version of PPP, there is an inverse relationship between the rate of inflation and currency value. According to this theory, there is an inverse relationship between the rate of inflation and currency value. If inflation goes up, currency value will come down. If inflation comes down, currency value will go up. So this is called relative purchasing power parity, that there is an inverse relationship between the rate of inflation and currency value. If one will go up, the other will come down, and if one will come down, the other will go up. Inflation is one of many factors that affect exchange rate. There are lots of factors that are affecting exchange rates, and one of those factors is inflation. But if opposing factors are stronger, other factors, he's talking about other factors, if other factors are stronger, the currency may remain strong in spite of inflation. If other factors are stronger, then maybe the inflation will not affect the currency value. Means the currency value will remain same if inflation is going up or it is coming down. Now, but according to this theory, inflation is the biggest factor for the exchange rate, change in exchange rate, currency value. But here I'm telling you that if other factors are stronger, then the currency may remain strong in spite of inflation. There are lots of criticisms. We discussed about these criticisms previously. So if you will look at these criticisms, then you will find this thing. Let's denote the current exchange rate as E0 and the exchange rate one period ahead as E1. After 1 year, forward exchange rate. The exchange rate after 1 year. Then we want to calculate exchange rate after one period is equal to price in foreign country, price in domestic country, 1 plus pi. This pi shows the inflation rate. Inflation rate in foreign country divided by 1 plus inflation rate in domestic country raised to the power 1. Now, you know about this thing. Price in foreign country divided by price in domestic country. This is called absolute purchasing power parity. This thing. See, price in Canada and price in USA. So P domestic country and P foreign country. So what we did, we convert this by E0. Current exchange rate means the current exchange rate is the ratio of the prices. So here, instead of this, I wrote current exchange rate E naught FC divided by DC, foreign country divided by domestic. 1 plus pi FC divided by 1 plus pi DC raised to the power 1. Simply we are talking about the exchange rate, that inflation is affecting the exchange rate, that there is a relationship between inflation and exchange rate. Now price, if you will look at the formula, price in foreign country and price in domestic country, PFC divided by PDC and see now we are coming towards inflation. 1 plus this is inflation pi. I told you that this pi, it is denoting inflation. This is inflation rate. So inflation rate in foreign country, foreign currency or foreign country divided by 1 plus inflation rate in domestic country. And all of this will be raised to the power 1 because we want to calculate exchange rate after 1 year. If you want to calculate it for 2 years, so here will be 2 power 2. If you want to calculate it for 5 years, so here power will be 5. So this is the formula according to relative purchasing power parity. This is the formula for calculating the exchange rate. Now this is basically absolute purchasing power parity, and we are denoting absolute purchasing power parity, that it is basically the current exchange rate, it is the ratio of the prices. So this is the current exchange rate and the remaining formula will remain as it is, 1 plus pi fc divided by 1 plus pi dc. Sorry, raised to the power 1. Now we will take an example so this thing will be much more clear to you. Now suppose the current exchange rate is 15 peso per dollar. 15 peso per dollar. And here dollar is our domestic currency and peso is the foreign currency. US inflation rate is 1% and Mexican inflation rate it is 20%. So now we'll put these values in the formula. E1, exchange rate 1 period ahead, is equal to current exchange rate E0, the ratio of the prices. We calculate the ratio of the prices, so we get this current exchange rate. 15 multiplied by 1 plus 20% is the Mexican inflation rate, so 0.20, divided by 1 plus domestic inflation rate is 0.01, and whole raised to the power 1 because we are calculating exchange rate 1 period ahead. So when we make all these calculations, 1 plus 1.20 divided by 1.01, okay, I will calculate this. See, 1.20 divided by 1.01, we got 1.18881 multiplied by this 15, so we got 17.8217. just we round it, so we got 17.8218. so this will be the exchange rate after 1 period. Now you can also calculate this for 2 years. See, if you want to calculate the exchange rate 2 periods ahead, so it will be, the current exchange rate is 15 multiplied by 1 plus inflation rate in Mexico, foreign country, it is 20%, so 0.20 divided by exchange rate in home country, so it is 1.1 plus 1%, so means 0.01, and raised to the power 2. So if you will calculate this, 1.20 divided by 1.01, so we got 1.1881, and see, raised to the power 2, so we got 1.41162 and multiply it by 15, so we got 21.1743. 1743. So according to relative purchasing power parity, this inflation rate, this is responsible for changing the exchange rate. Means this inflation rate and the exchange rate, it has a direct relationship. Now see, in Mexico, the inflation rate is high, so their currency will devaluate. See, it goes to 21.1743. Previously, the exchange rate was $1 to 15 pesos, and now it goes, after 2 years, it goes to $1 to 21. Sorry, it goes from $1 to 21.1743. So this shows that Mexican currency, it devaluates. Previously, Mexicans, they were purchasing $1 for 15 pesos, and now they are purchasing $1 for 21 pesos. So it is showing that the Mexican currency, it devaluates, and American currency, it appreciates. Inshallah, in the next class, then we will start interest rate parity. Assalamu alaikum.